Hey guys, I want to talk about depression. Specifically, I'd like to talk about what it is to me and what I went through that really changed my life. About a year ago, my dad went to prison, and it was a really sudden and unexpected event in my life. I knew he was in a legal case, but I didn't know very much about it. And all of a sudden, one day, he said, "Look, I think I only have a couple weeks left, and I'm gonna be going away for probably a really long time. I might not see you guys again outside of prison." And that was a really hard thing to accept. Sure enough, a few weeks later, he was gone, and I was left with a lot of questions and a lot of angry emotions and feelings and confusion. And I had like this big ball, like this big storm cloud of confusion and thoughts. And it was so much that I just didn't know how to deal with it. Didn't know how to begin processing or to accept any of these feelings. And so what I did was I kind of put it on the back burner, and like this big bowling ball of emotions I just put on like the shelf of my mind. And it was like I'd put it on the glass shelf in my mind, and I was worried that if I disturbed it or if I touched it in any way, then it was going to shatter the whole shelf. And I realized one day when I was at church, a few weeks later, someone walked up to me and said, "Hey, I heard about your dad. How you doing?" It made me really angry that someone else knew about it. And just thinking about it in that brief moment brought up all these feelings of anger and confusion again, and made me realize how much I didn't want to process it at all. And I just said something like, I'm fine. I don't really want to talk about it." And the person was like, "Okay, well, I hope you have a great day," and walked away. And it's no big deal. But I found myself doing everything I could to avoid those thoughts. I lost sleep. I had a very poor diet. I pushed people away, my friends and my family. I would have flashbacks to it, and then I would do everything I could to avoid those flashbacks, deprive myself of sleep so I wouldn't have nightmares. Or sometimes I'd have little anxiety attacks and remember back to the day he left, and it would make my pulse get kind of weak, and my heart would pound really hard, and I would have these moments where I wouldn't be able to sleep for hours. And this was a really hard thing for me to go through, but it was even harder for me to think about dealing with those thoughts. I'd rather suffer than to deal with all the thoughts that I had. That's how big they felt to me. Until one day I made a friend at an event that I got invited to. I really didn't want to go because I wasn't in a good spot, but I was encouraged. My brother was going. I thought, all right, you know what? Might as well go. At that event, I made a friend. And this guy and I connected, and he talked to me a little bit about some of the difficult stuff that was going on in his life. And for some reason, just feeling like he was there to listen when we were just chatting made me feel encouraged to talk just a little bit about the thoughts and emotions I had about my dad. And so I told him and shared just a tiny bit. And he didn't really say anything encouraging or have any way of helping me. He just listened. And that little bit of him listening encouraged me to process it, just that little bit. And the bowling ball back here shrank from a bowling ball to a junior bowling ball. That encouraged me to process it just a little bit. And then I ended up talking to him again not too long later, and that bowling ball shrunk some more. And then I ended up getting encouraged from one of my friends to try streaming. And in that same time, I learned that I really liked being able to help people and to positively influence people to make their lives a little bit better. And that was something that I had a passion for. And so friends suggested streaming, and I was like, you know what? That sounds like a cool idea. Started streaming and made some friends through streaming and shared with them, a couple people, some of the stuff that I've gone through and some of the thoughts and emotions I have with it. And every time that bowling ball shrank just a little bit more. Up until today, I'd consider it maybe a golf ball or something. And I'm not really worried about disturbing that golf ball. I'm not really worried about the glass shelf breaking anymore. And because of all of that, I'm a different person today. I went through some really dark months, but through it, I was able to find a little bit more of who I am and what makes me happy in life and where my passions are. And I think I've come to accept that I'm never going to be fully healed. That golf ball, I don't think, is ever going to fully go away. Might shrink a little bit more, but I think I've come to accept that's part of who I am now and part of my life. And that's my story. I hope that if you're watching this and you're going through something that's really difficult and you don't know how to deal with it, for me, it was realizing that I was avoiding my feelings. Only now have I realized that's what it was. I was avoiding my feelings because I didn't want to process it at all. And talking about it, just letting somebody listen, ended up being what started me down a long path of healing. So if you're watching this and you're dealing with something and you want somebody to talk to, I'm going to put my Discord link down in the chat. Discord is kind of like a chat room. You can go in and you can message people, and you can shoot me a private message if you want. And I would love to be who that friend was for me that helped me just talk about it a little bit. So if you want to talk, I'd be so happy to listen. And if you want to talk to somebody anonymously, I'm also going to put a number here for a hotline that you can call. And there are people on the other end of that line who care about you and who want your life to be just a little bit better in any way that they can. And if that's just listening, you just talking to somebody else on the other line, that can happen. So I hope that this video does some good, and I hope to connect with more people about something that is very serious but very real. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you again for watching. Peace out.